Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our spooky lantern, one of the pieces in our second Halloween release for 2022. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Machine's pretty much doing all the work. We just have some vellum and some panels to put together and a base. It's gonna go real quick. So we're gonna start off by actually putting the two sections together, because we need to do that in order to put the rest of this in place. So you'll notice here we have a tab on both of these, and it doesn't matter which one you pick, just grab one or the other, and we're going to take and begin applying glue to the tab, and we're going to spread that glue out nice and even all the way out to the very edge. Okay, I might have put a little bit too much on there, that's okay. Just wipe off any excess before it dries up. Okay, and I'm going to put this right next to the other half. You can actually do it this way if you prefer, it might be easier. And we'll take this other half, make sure that you get it lined up accurately. You can look at this horizontal line down at the bottom and use that as a guide and pop that into place. And just press that down like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and fold it onto itself like so, and that is going to help me ensure that I've got it lined up correctly. And you can tell because this tab here, this little angle, should match up with the one right behind it, and that's a good indicator that you've got it exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so while it's still flat, we're going to leave that sit for just a minute. Okay, so now that we have the base glued together, one solid piece, it's time to apply our vellum. Now, quick little note here, you want to make sure that you're putting the vellum on the right side, okay? What we're doing here is sandwiching the vellum between the inside of the lantern. This is the inside. So if we close this up, you can see this is the outside, this is the inside. So the vellum's going to go here, and then it's going to be covered up by this piece here. Okay, so I think the best thing to do, and also, by the way, you want to make sure that you're gluing the vellum on the correct side. So don't glue the vellum on this side, because we need to put it on this way, and you can see here the witches are facing the opposite direction. So what I would do, just to make sure you do this correctly, and we did it so that this is mirrored, so that the texture side is out, because it looks nicer, so we'll be able to see the texture from the inside. I'll just lay these out on their corresponding sections, like so. Oh, I had that reversed. Okay, and then I would just pull one at a time, okay, and we know we need to put the vellum on this side, like so, in which case we can then flip it over and we'll apply the glue to the back side of this panel. Okay, and to do that, we're just going to do simple little dots around the perimeter. You want to keep the dots, especially around the perimeter, towards the inner part of the design. You go too far out, the vellum won't actually hit it, but you also want to make sure you don't get it too close to the inside, because then it'll spill onto the actual viewable parts. So just it's kind of a little balancing game here. Just want to kind of keep it in, well, inside here it doesn't really matter, but along the perimeter, just be cautious and try to keep it towards the inside where the cutouts are, but again, not too close. Okay, and we don't need to put vellum or glue on every single little inch of this. It's not necessary. Just enough to hold it in place. And I would start up here. Make sure you have that little cutout covered for the little circle, and then just pop it down. Make sure it's centered and covering all of the cutouts, and then just give it a good smack like that. Okay, and it should look like that. And then we're going to glue this right on there. Okay, so again, I'll grab my vellum. It's going to go like this. So we'll flip it over, and we can begin applying our glue. Pretty straightforward. And we're going to do this on all four panels. And then we'll get these glued in. We're going to glue all of them in but one. And I'll show you why. Okay. And just do some dots. Pretty small little dots. You don't need to go crazy with the dots here. Just real tiny little dots. Oops, I missed. Okay, starting at the top here, cover that little circle, and then of course make sure the rest of it sits over the cutout. Give it a quick little smack, and voila. Again, grabbing my vellum, it's going to go like this. So we'll flip it over and apply our glue to the back side, going around the perimeter. And if you miss a dot here or there, not the end of the world. Every single one of these little dots is doing a lot of work. And as long as the majority of them make contact with the vellum, we'll be in good shape. Because we're also going to be gluing this to the inside of the structure, and that will also help keep everything in place as well. So we've got some redundancy there, just in case this doesn't do the job, but it should. Okay, start up here. Line that up and just drop it down. Give it a good little smack. And the last one, again, putting the vellum behind it like this. We've got the texture side facing out. The design matches up. Flip it over and get our last piece of vellum in place. I guess technically if you wanted to, you could put the vellum on the main structure if you wanted to, but I think this will be a little easier just to get everything together so that we only have to glue one thing to the main structure. Okay, just working my way around the design here. I think that's good. Again, starting at the top here. Cover up that little circle and then just lay that down, and that should do it. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now it's time to glue the vellum and the panels in place. We're going to glue every single one of them except for this one here, the last one with the little cat in the haunted house, because we need to close this up first, and if we do that, the tab will be visible. We want to cover the tab, so we'll do that one last after it's partially assembled. In the meantime, we can go ahead and begin putting these panels in place, okay? And obviously we want to do our best to get that aligned as accurately as possible with the existing design there. And kind of similar to what we did with the vellum, now obviously you want to keep your glue around the perimeter. We definitely want it around the perimeter. Do not put any glue inside of the cutout areas. We don't want to do that. Okay, so just keep it away from the cutouts, and then we can do a little bit on the actual design here. We don't need to get every single inch of it, just like we did with the vellum. And I would hold it up in your hand like this so you can see exactly where the design is, so we don't accidentally get some glue on the cutout areas. Okay, and again, don't worry about getting it on every single inch. We'll flip this over and we'll do our best to get that aligned. And as you kind of put it down, you'll be able to see the black behind it. Kind of maybe lift it up a little bit so that you can see the layer behind it, and press that down. Give that a good push. Good press. Push kind of seems violent. We don't need to get violent here. Just having a good time. Okay, we'll take a look at it from the other side so you can see what that looks like there. And then the inside looks nice and neat, and the vellum is nice and hidden. Okay, if you do have any little areas that maybe are still not completely sitting flat, just grab a scrap piece of paper like this. And I'm just going to paint a little bit of glue right up here where maybe missed it a little bit. And just press and hold that down for a few seconds. Let it sit until it makes contact. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's do our little pumpkin guys here next. We'll flip this over. Again, watch out for that little circle at the top. We do want some glue up there, just not on the actual cutout. And then I'm going to work the perimeter, kind of doing a little curly Q pattern with my glue application here. We can go a little bit heavier on the bottom. There's a little extra room down there, just like that. And then again, focus that glue on the actual design and not on the cutout areas. And we'll get a little bit on the pumpkins here. And if you miss and you get some on the cutout area, it's not the end of the world. It will probably show through when you light it up, but it won't be horrible. Wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Okay, so we'll grab this piece now and line up the top, and then as we bring it down, we'll start to see the black part kind of showing through, and we can make some minor adjustments. Just like that, and press that down. Should be good and tacky, ready to stay in place. There we go, just keep pressing. If you have a little brayer handy, you can use that to really get that glue pressed into both layers. Okay, let's take a look on the other side, looking sharp. And if I lift it up, I'm not seeing the other layer behind it, so that looks great. And now we're going to do the owl. And we'll do this other one last here in just a minute. Okay, so let's flip this over, and just like we did with the last two, I'm going to work the perimeter. And just be careful with this. Vellum is cool, but it could be a little tricky. You know, another thing that some people do with vellum is they use the spray adhesive, because that doesn't leave little dots and blemishes like glue does. So if you're more comfortable with that, you can use the spray adhesive. That would work. Just be careful not to breathe that stuff in. In the past when I've used it, I noticed that it just gives me headaches when I use it. You can't help, even if you do it outside in ventilated areas. I must just be like hypersensitive to it or something, because it never ends well. Okay. So let's get that lined up. I'm going to kind of lift this up a little bit, let some light kind of come through so I can see the alignments. And just give it a little nudge. Get it where it needs to be. There we go. I think that's right on. And I'll just use my little brayer to really get that to stick in place. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the front. That looks great. Okay. So that just leaves this pattern here. But like I mentioned, we're going to close this up first. And putting that last layer in is going to be a little more challenging, but we'll get through it. It's not going to be impossible. Let's go ahead and close this up. And let's put our glue on this tab. Now, if this is too difficult for you and you want to put this down right now while it's open, you can, and then we can glue the tab to the face of this and you'll just see one little tab sticking out, which isn't the end of the world, but I'm just showing you how to do it so that everything looks nice and pretty on the inside as well. Okay, so I literally just took this and folded it over onto that tab. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and fold it over onto that section there, so I can press down right there. Give it a little extra push, like so. Okay, so now it is officially a lantern. We can fold these tabs down so that it sits flat. Okay, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece now, and the cool thing is we can kind of slide it in, and once we get it where it needs to be, we can then put it down flat and press down. So like I said, it's not that bad. And actually, because it's vertical like this, it's actually letting more light in. It might actually be easier to see the positioning on this with this last piece. Okay, so again, work around the perimeter. Let's go around these little petals here. Throw a little glue on there. And just a little bit here and there, a little bit on the moon. We've got our little haunted house here, the cat's tail, this little tree branch. There's that, the tombstone, some grass. Wonderful. And then you can literally, while it's standing up, just tuck it in there and grab it, line it up, match it up nicely. Make sure it all lines up. And then you can literally take it and put it down flat on your surface. I had it lined up. Put it down like this and press down. Okay, I'm just pushing down from the inside. We'll take a look at it from the front, and that looks great. Okay, so then we can actually just take this and really push it down flat like this. I can use my brayer on the outside, and that's still applying pressure to that piece inside. And there we have it. Okay, so all 4 sides are complete. And now what we're gonna do, you'll have all 4 tabs inside, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put glue on these tabs inside, like this. Just a nice line of glue around the perimeter, pardon my head. Just like that, okay? We're gonna take this piece with a little hole in it. This is where our tea light's gonna sit, our candle. And just drop it in there and press it down. And that's gonna help keep its shape and also give us that little hole to hold the candle in place so it doesn't just go flailing around. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's what the bottom looks like, but that's okay because we're actually putting it on a base, and didn't want to close it up. If you want to close it up, you could technically take this little circle piece with the little circle cut out in it and get rid of the circle and then put one on the outside if you want to make it stand alone like that. But we do have a base for it, which I think is really cool. So this is the base, and what we're going to do is we're going to construct the little walls. So you want to start by putting some glue on this little tab here and run that glue out to the very edge, tuck it in behind this surface, this wall, and press and hold. And just hold that in place. You can put that down on your table and press down so you get some extra leverage, just like that. And we'll go over to the other side with the other tab. Spread that out to the edge. There we go. Tuck that behind, line it up nicely, and squeeze and hold. Okay. And finally, we've got 2 more on this side. I'm going to apply my glue to both of these tabs just to get it on there so that I don't have to come pulling it apart and risk ripping or tearing this section. Okay, there we go. We'll tuck that in behind this section, line it up, and press and hold. Put that down on your surface to kind of expedite that process a little bit. There we go. And the last one here, just press and hold that in place. Nice and lined up. So we have the base constructed, and obviously we have our little lid here. What we're going to do is we're going to close this up. We're going to apply our glue to all 3 of these tabs, and then we're going to close it up. So it's okay to go a little bit heavier here because we're going to be spreading this glue out to the very edge of the tab. And we can always, if we have too much on one tab, just bring it over to the other. There we go. Make sure you get that glue out to the very corners of each of these tabs. A little more there. And then take this and bring it down line it up with this side here as closely as you can. And if you need to kind of nudge the walls in a little bit to make it look seamless, that's okay, that's normal. And just keep running your finger along the perimeter. And you can see that I pre-inked this part here with a little bit of turquoise. I'm gonna actually finish this up and ink all of the edges just to kind of distress it a little bit because it is a Halloween project. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm not gonna do that because we have a little overlay for that. So just the top is fine. Okay, so the lantern is looking sharp. And as I mentioned here, we have this guy. Okay, and what we're gonna do, you'll notice that on one end here, we have a little tab. Okay, so we're gonna start here in the center, like so, and apply our glue just to this section closest to the tab. And we're gonna apply that to one of the sides. Use the tab to kind of, almost like a tape measure. You're kind of holding it up against the corner there, and then press that down. Should fit perfectly, like so. Okay, just hold that in place. And then while that's drying, you can throw a little bit of glue on this tab here and push that over onto this side. And just hold that in place. And we're gonna take this piece, okay, and that's gonna go right on top of that tab. We're gonna start there first. So go ahead and apply your glue to the side that does not have a tab. This side has a tab, this section does not. And this section here, you might want to take and spread that glue out to the edge. That'll help. And pop that right into place, all the way in the corner, and then use this corner where we have a score mark as kind of a guide to make sure that we have it positioned correctly. Pop that into place and hold, like so. And then this part is not glued down yet. We're going to take and glue this part down next, along with the little tab at the end. So go ahead and I'm going to just kind of hold it like that. We'll bring that over, lay that down. Should be flush with the top and bottom, nice and crisp and clean. Hold that down. This tab's going to go over onto this surface now. And the reason we added these little tabs is to kind of make this look continuous. In case you're a little bit off, we have this tab here so that we don't end up seeing any of this green color, okay? So all that's left to do now is apply our glue to the last little section. Make sure you get that glue all the way out to the very edge here. You can kind of spread that out, dab it a little bit, and then pop it right on. I'm using my fingers here to guide it to ensure that it stays on track. Nice and flush with the top and bottom. And just press that into place. That is perfect. Okay, cute little base. Definitely very Halloween-y. Reminds me of Beetlejuice for some reason. Okay, and then finally, this is gonna go right on top. You can see where that little cutout is. So the candle can go down a little bit further, and it'll help weigh this thing down as well. So all that's left to do is apply some glue to the very bottom of this. I'm gonna go kind of heavy here. And I'm gonna spread this out to the edge, try to keep it nice and thick. There we go. Just like that. Beautiful. And you notice that we do have some little markers. There's two markers here. And that's just to help you with the positioning. It doesn't matter which side you put where. That little hole in the center is symmetrical. And you can definitely use that, kind of nudge this piece around a little bit to ensure that you have it nice and centered. Okay, if you're a tad bit off, it's okay, but there you have it. There it is. And the only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a few little rhinestones right here in these little circles to finish it off, but that's pretty much it. Very simple little lantern. You could definitely make 2 or 3 of these for, you know, a mantle or maybe your dining room if you're doing some place settings for Halloween, whatever it may be, but definitely fun and definitely perfect for the season. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and join our, well, we just hit a milestone, 50,000 subscribers. So thank you to each and every one of you. While you're there, hit that little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL that you see here at the bottom of your screen. So happy hauntings, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.